this is the primary difference between RevGEN and your typical startup. And really what I think it boils down to is that RevGEN is 100% bootstrap, meaning we've never received funding, we're self-funding, essentially profitable from day one. And in order to do that, we had to be very service heavy in the beginning. So we started in 2013, basically providing nothing but revenue management service, and the software has kind of caught up. And I think the difference is in a typical tech startup, right? They're going to put a super heavy emphasis on software and sales, raise a bunch of money, run in the red for a long period of time with a long tail vision that eventually they become profitable. So I think that's like the general summary, and I don't think there's like a right or wrong. I think it's just like the way things happened.
Yeah.
So maybe like let's start. Let's jump to sales.
Okay. So starting with sales, I think what makes us different from other companies is, like Bill was saying, that we didn't immediately hire a huge sales force and go out and like try to take over the world, basically. So where a lot of our leads come from are actually from existing client referrals and word of mouth and that sort of thing. So rather than going out and canvassing 1,000 different clients and having a close rate of maybe 5, 10, 15% if we're lucky, we have a much more small selective number of leads, but we end up closing on maybe 50 or 60% of those leads.
Yeah, like when the lead gets to us, it's already very well qualified.
Yeah.
Because
exactly.
odds are they were referred from an existing client, and most of the time they're actually coming to us as opposed to us cold calling.
Yeah.
And so obviously the close rate is going to be
way
a lot higher.
Yeah.
So I would say, like, that's not necessarily right or wrong. I think like it's worked for us, and I honestly, like, if I looked at this number, I'm telling myself like, what the heck are we doing? Like, why are we running 5% of our operation sales? And we actually don't even have anybody dedicated to sales, which is probably insanity. But I think what happened was sales has never been our bottleneck. So especially, we started so heavy on the ops, which is service, heavy service.
Yeah.
To me, the bottleneck there was like finding good people, right?
Yeah.
Finding like the Daniels of the world. So like he can only manage so many hotels. So what happens? Two.
No, I can only handle two.
Well,
I can only handle two hotels.
Most people can handle a lot more. Daniel can only handle two. But so we've never even had to actively sell the service. Yeah. I think like as we've caught up over time and we've become more heavy on the software side, it's going to make a lot more sense to have a much stronger sales presence. So, I mean, I imagine like if we did this video a year from now, hopefully that number looks like 10 or 20%.
Yeah, so I added a column here, prediction. I predict also that we're probably going to want to up the sales presence. So I would say over the next year or coming years, we're probably going to increase the sales. Because like Bill is saying, we've never had a room full of revenue managers sitting around waiting for hotels. It's always been the other way around. So we've always had 10, 15, 20 hotels in the pipeline, and then not enough revenue managers to service them.
Yeah.
So next, do you want to touch on ops and then kind of talk about our differences versus the other companies, and then maybe where we're headed on the ops side?
Yeah. So on the ops side, this number is going to go down proportionately because we've basically on the service side, we are focusing on like growing with quality partners, portfolios, and we're at a point now where we can basically say that the quality is more important than quantity.
Yeah.
So I think as a team, we've come to the point where we're not looking to revenue manage service-wise thousands of hotels. If that happens, that's great. But on the service side, we're much more interested in focusing on 300, 400 really solid hotels within really solid partnerships and portfolios.
Mm-hmm.
So I've always kind of seen part of the service, like I'm very passionate about it, but at the same time, the service is what has allowed us to pay for our own investment. So instead of like going out and asking for money, we've self-funded by working really, really hard on the ops side.
Yeah.
And now once we can get the software going, which we are, I think it might balance out a little bit more.
Yeah. So